The anti-hero. We're supposed to root for the good guys, so why is that we keep falling for characters who lie, cheat, and break the rules? From characters like Mo from Bad Guys to Walter White from Breaking Bad, modern media seems infatuated with characters who aren't exactly more or less. To begin, let's answer the question of what is an anti-hero? Traditionally, heroes were easily identifiable. They were brave, selfless, honest, and morally certain. They did the right thing because it was the right thing to do, and the story always rewarded them for it. When I think of heroes, I imagine Superman, Wonder Woman, and the Adventures. Villains were the opposite. They exist to be conquered by the hero. They're supposed to serve a purpose to the story some way, somehow to the hero. Whether it's to expand the hero's morals or make the hero stronger. But anti-heroes are fence-sitters, unable to be classified as either a hero or a villain. An anti-hero is a main character who lacks traditional heroic qualities.
Stop! Stop now! Come back! I love you!
Liar!
No!
You're with him! You brought him here to kill me!
No!
They might be selfish, dishonest, and deeply flawed. They don't always make the right choices, and sometimes they know that and do it anyway. What makes anti-heroes interesting isn't that they're quote-unquote bad, but they're conflicted. They're not trying to be a symbol. They're trying to survive, succeed, or justify their own actions. And that difference completely changes how we experience a story. A brief history of heroes. For a long time, stories needed clear moral answers. In myths, legends, and early films, heroes represented order. They stood for ideals like justice, honor, and truth. These characters weren't meant to feel real. They were meant to be examples. As storytelling evolved, so did audiences. People started wanting characters who reflected real emotions and real struggles. Heroes became less perfect. They doubted themselves. They started to fail. They started to make more mistakes. Eventually, this shift led to protagonists who don't just struggle, but they actively cross the moral lines. And instead of pushing audiences away, those characters pulled us in. Flaws make characters feel real. Perfect characters are impressive, but they're hard to relate to. Anti-heroes feel human because they're inconsistent. They want good outcomes but take questionable paths. They justify bad decisions with understandable emotions. Fear, pride, depression, or even their own ego. When a character fails, doubts themselves, or makes a decision they later regret, it mirrors real life. Most people don't live by a strict moral code. We compromise. We end up rationalizing. We mess up all the time. Anti-heroes reflect that reality in all humans. And when a character feels real, we don't just watch the story. We end up emotionally empathizing with them and putting ourselves in their own shoes. Moral gray is more engaging than black and white. Anti-heroes force the audience to think. Instead of being told what's right and what's wrong, we're asked to decide for ourselves. We might agree with the character in one moment and strongly disagree in the next. That discomfort is intentional. Modern storytelling often values complexity over certainty. Anti-heroes turn viewers into participants, consistently questioning, was that justified? Would I have done the same? Where should the line be drawn? These stories don't give easy answers, and that's exactly what they're trying to do. And this is exactly why they're so compelling. The power fantasy. There's another reason anti-heroes are appealing, and it has less to do with morality and more to do with psychology. Anti-heroes operate outside the limits that constrain most people. They say what others won't, ignore rules that feel more relative, and challenge systems that are rarely questioned. In doing so, they exercise a kind of agency that real life often denies. For the audience, this creates a controlled space for rebellion. Viewers aren't endorsing the character's actions, they're engaging with the emotional experience behind them. Fiction allows people to explore feelings like anger, frustration, and the desire to control without translating these emotions into the real-world behavior. This disconnection is critical. There is a meaningful difference between identifying with a character's emotional motivation and approving of their choices. Anti-heroes work because they externalize impulses that most people suppress, not because they're model behavior. In that case, anti-heroes function less as a moral guide and more as a psychological mirror, reflecting emotions that exist beneath social rules, rather than encouraging audiences to break them. Society has changed, and so have our heroes. Anti-heroes don't rise in a vacuum. They emerge in response to the world that audiences recognize. Modern life often feels complex, uncertain, and morally ambiguous. Trust is not always the number one priority, and authority figures have weakened. The grand narratives about clear right and wrong no longer feel convincing. Simple answers don't just feel unrealistic, they feel dishonest to the viewer. With that context, traditional heroes can seem dishonest from reality. Their moral certainty and unwavering confidence don't always reflect what people actually experience in the world. Anti-heroes, on the other hand, mirror the modern mindset. They are skeptical rather than idealistic, confided rather than confident, and emotionally complex rather than morally pure. They don't pretend the world is simple, and that honesty is exactly why they resonate. When anti-heroes go too far, there's a risk. When stories stop questioning anti-heroes and start celebrating them uncharacteristically, something shifts. The line between understanding a character and excusing their behavior can blur. Strong storytelling still shows consequences. It reminds us that actions matter, even when the characters is sympathetic. The goal isn't to glorify them, it's to explore complexity. What anti-heroes say about us. So why do we love anti-heroes? Not because they are broken, because they are honest. They live in a world where morality blurs, where good intentions unravel, and where human being means carrying contradictions. You can't neatly resolve. They fail, adapt, and they justify. And in doing so, they feel real. Anti-heroes don't stand above us as ideals. They stand beside us as reflections. They don't tell us who to become. They ask us who we already are. When no one is watching and the choices aren't simple, in a world that grows more uncertain day by day, maybe perfect heroes didn't disappear. Maybe we just stopped believing in them.